Welcome back to I Can't Hear Properly. Matt can't be here today because he has been banished to the Shadow Realm. We are reading You Were Born... to Die... It was a cold day. No snow. No breeze. Just a cold day.
Literally sounds like summer.
I was standing there washing the breakfast dishes. My mother and I had just finished eating. My mother... she was a good mother. Well, in my opinion. She was always there for me. She sacrificed almost everything for me.
Except for herself!
Goats, oxen, you know. Well, anyways, back to the story. That's not me saying that.
Wow,
that's in
that.
It's sacrificed almost anything. New sentence. Well, anyways, back to the story. While washing the dishes, I felt a strange feeling flow through my veins. Nothing too serious, just a small tingling sensation.
Through my dip.
Nothing too serious.
Hey Jackson, Dan called. Be a good guy and call back.
I snapped out of my train of thought. It was my mother. I grunted in response, continuing to wash the saucepan.
Why? Sorry. Why is it every single time with the narration, these creepypastas, it sound like aliens? It's like, it was my mother. I am a human.
He said mother a lot in this first paragraph.
Here, I'll take care of it. I don't need you getting sick.
She spoke again, taking the sponge and the saucepan lid out of my grasp. Okay, and then a bunch of lines, new paragraph. You sure? Jackson asked his mother. Why is it the third person now? His mother looked up at him with a smile that melted everybody's heart.
Everyone.
I don't know who else was in the room
shit.
to have their heart melted.
Yes, son, I'm sure. God, I love the way that the voice always goes worse.
His mother chuckled, and then she simply went to washing the saucepan lid.
Great.
Jackson simply nodded a soft, thanks, Mum, ... barely audible. As he walked out of the kitchen, he heard the familiar sound of his phone ringing. With his right hand, Jackson picked up his phone and slid the answer icon to the right.
Creepy.
After lifting the phone to his ears, Jackson heard a rough voice come from the other end of the line.
Hey Jackson, you want to hang out?
Dan spoke.
Dan the crack dealer spoke.
Jackson thought for a moment. Should I go? Well, that's like an echo because he's thinking.
Oh, yeah.
You know what? I'm not going to do that. Should I go? Mum might need help while I'm gone. What if Dad comes back to terrorise Mum?
Pardon?
As these
I'm
thoughts
sure there's a backstory.
crossed Jackson's mind, he answered with whatever came to mind first. I'll go ask my mum, he stuttered. He starts for the kitchen. Dan rambling on about some chick on the internet. Just before going into the kitchen, he quickly glances at the living room, which was on the way back to the kitchen. As he glances, he sees a dark figure in the corner of the window. Immediately Jackson feels that bubbling up from before. He tenses up as he double takes at the window to see nothing there. Must have been my imagination. Jackson stepped into the kitchen. He looked around to see his mother standing there, washing a plate. Hey Mum, Jackson said while leaning against the doorframe with the phone still pressed against his ears.
Yes, son.
Jackson's mother responds. This is the tense swappinest story I've read in a while. Placing the last plate on the drying rack and then turning around, still wearing a smile. It seemed ... fake. Dan's asking me to go over to his place. I'm just making sure that you'll be fine while I'm gone, Jackson told his mother.
Have fun, I'll be fine on my own.
Kelly chuckled at her son.
Suddenly has a name.
Drying her hand on the small grey hand towel and started for the living room. What if you need something? Jackson asked, following her into the living room.
God, this is so fucking boring and overly descriptive.
Dan whining on the other end.
I'll go get it myself. How else?
Kelly answered.
Now go and enjoy yourself.
She urged.
If I need help, I'll call you.
She reassured.
She reassured.
Promise? Jackson asked his mother. He really didn't care about his mother. She had divorced Jackson's father a few years back. For a year after the divorce, Jackson's father stalked his mother. But what scared Jackson was that when his mother had gone to the attic to fetch childhood pictures of hers, she'd found a bunch of pictures of herself and Jackson in places they'd recently visited, like the mall, movie theatre, and numerous other public areas.
Toilets.
Pictures they didn't take. And food scraps. Kelly felt lightheaded and lost consciousness. After they had the police investigate the entire house, they found out that his father might have been the one living up there, for what seemed like about half a year. The fact that they never found Jackson's father is the reason why Jackson was afraid of leaving his mother alone.
There you go, there's backstory. I'm glad that got explained.
Kelly sighed.
No, I'm gonna run upstairs to my bedroom and lock myself in a small corner like a blonde horror movie bitch.
She sarcastically remarked. Jackson gave her a look that just screamed, "What the fuck, Mum?" Kelly laughed softly.
Fine, I'll call you up. I won't think I need to.
Okay, I'll be going then. Bye, Mum, Jackson stated while walking out of the living room and the front door. Hey, Dan, I'll be there in 5 minutes, he spoke into the phone. I mean, we've just found out that somebody might have been living in our house without us knowing about it. There's probably...
Dan,
this is a really big deal. I'll just come over.
That's cool. I'll get the food and video games
I'll get the food and crack ready.
I'm glad to know that he's leaving his mum potentially to be murdered for food and video games.
It's a creepypasta. You definitely know he's going to come back to find
Dan had said, excited that his friend is coming over. Dan was around a year older than Jackson, but he had always seemed less mature than his younger friend.
I'll see you then. Bye.
Dan huffed before hanging up. Jackson hopped into his car and sighed as he felt the sound of the car's engine starting. After a few moments, he backed out of the driveway. He saw that figure from the corner of his eyes again. He dismissed it as a figment of his imagination. Wrong move. These people fucking deserve to die.
Yep.
So they're fucking idiots.
Dan saw Jackson's car pull up in his driveway. Jackson emerged from the driver's side. Dan smiled and waited for the doorbell to chime. When it did, he rushed to the door, donning a shit-eating grin, and pulled the wooden door open.
Yo, Jackson, what's up? Other than your ass, of course.
Was he picking something up off the floor? Was he touching his toes? Mum's getting a little better. She's even joking around now.
Jackson trailed off, fidgeting a little and looking the other way, smiling a little.
Smiling a little.
Smiling a little.
Okay. That's really good to hear. Well, come in. We can hang out to take your mind off of it.
This is so boring.
Dan said as he stepped out of the way.
This is so fucking boring. It's like he's doing a fucking workout. Was this an assignment for a college?
I hope this person didn't attend college.
Yeah.
Workout. That's what it was. It was like, you know what? Decent creepypasta is about, 1,000 workout? Fuck it.
Like, if this person was at a college course when they wrote this, I hope it was for, like, maths or science. Like, I really hope it wasn't related to English literature in any capacity.
Yeah. Jackson stepped into the house and took in the familiar surroundings of his best friend's living room.
It's been a while, hasn't it?
It's been a while.
Jackson softly spoke. He smiled.
It's a while, should be 2 words there. It's been a while.
Yeah. He smiled as he sat on the old tattered green couch that Dan seemed to have owned forever. Or it could just been a green couch, you know. Dan plopped himself next to Jackson and switched the television on.
What do you want to do? Watch a movie, play a game, or watch some YouTube videos on my laptop? Dan asked.
Watch bad creepypasta.
The way you like read that off like a list, so I was like, what do you want to do? Watch a movie? Play a game? Watch some YouTube videos? Maybe hunt a ghost? Review some toys for children?
Yes,
Dan asked, flick through channels on the TV.
Let's just play a game. What have you got?
Jackson
Penis! Let me show you how it works.
Jackson looked at the coffee table, which was loaded with snacks, chocolates, candies, chips, and Hot Pockets. He grabbed a Hot Pocket and stuffed it in his mouth.
What the hell?
Well,
what is this?
Hang on.
An afternoon with my friends? Or some kind of buffet?
He grabbed the Hot Pocket, took a bite out of it. Naturally, the molten lava inside went straight on his junk. It's that creepypasta. What one was it? Space junk.
Who cares?
that was the Wheel of Fortune one.
Oh yeah, that was it.
Well, I've got Minecraft, Killzone, Shadowfall, and I've got Bloodborne, Assassin's Creed 4, and drumroll please, Call of Duty Black Ops 3.
Drumroll please. A game that's not as good as some of the other ones I mentioned.
In fact, any of them.
Call of Duty Black Ops 3. Dan answered enthusiastically, trying to lighten things up.
Well then, I have severe autism, so let's settle for Minecraft then.
Jackson smiled. A gummy snake hung from the corner of his lips.
Oh my god.
Let's sap our lives then, Dan
Right.
smirked.
I love how he's gone from sounding like a tough badass to sounding like Chris Bores now.
Literally, no one speaks like this. It's like, again, going back to E3, the awkward conference thing they do with a fake game chat. Just like, oh yeah, what do we do now? We take back the we take back the capital. What do we do now? We jump over this wall and we go towards these guys. Yes, that's what we should do. That's literally what they would say.
Yeah, just like when you're watching the E3, it's like this is what game chat sounds like. All right, Billy Jean, you're being flanked on the left hand side. What game of chat really sounds like? I hate women and blacks. Just
It's like Dan laughed, happy because his friend was enjoying himself. No, I went too far.
Oh no! This is skip like 20 paragraphs to get there. Where's the creepy part?
Dan smirked. He took a handful of chips and put them in his mouth. They played into the afternoon, occasionally switching games.
get wrecked.
Whoa! Jackson yelled as he triumphantly danced around the living room.
After he put a block down in Minecraft. Get wrecked. Grass. Have that, you fucker.
Dan laughed, happy because his friend was enjoying himself. He hadn't seen Jackson like this in a while. I'll let you win, Dan argued, folding his arms and looking smug.
Did it establish that they changed
Yeah,
games?
Yeah, they said occasionally switching games.
I was going to say, it's just like, I'll let you win at Minecraft.
Wait, you can beat Minecraft? Oh! Wait, that's Roblox.
And there's like, Jackson only laughed.
Ha! You wish.
Jackson grinned and so did Dan. After throwing a couple more comebacks at each other, you got your boarding pass, they settled on having a movie marathon. Hours later, Jackson looked at the time on his phone. It was 5:30.
What time in the morning did he go?
Shit.
Jackson quickly fumbled with the phone and called his mother to check if she's okay.
Hey Mum, is everything okay?
Jackson asked. Dan was busy watching the movie. Kelly sighed over the phone.
Yes, everything is okay. I'm at your aunt's house. I'm staying the night.
Oh, well then have fun.
Jackson said. His mother hung up. He sighed.
Dan, it looks like I'm staying at your place tonight.
At those words...
I thought it just said, are those words?
At those words, Dan turns to face Jackson, a wide grin etched onto his face. Really? Today? Dan hopped on all fours on the couch, still grinning. He looked like an excited puppy.
Assume the position. Gay sex is fine.
Just walking. Hey! Hey kids, I brought Rice Krispie Squares and fucking Jackson hanging out the back of your son.
Cowboy hat.
Superintendent Dad, I was just stretching my glutes.
Oh, isometric exercise. Can you join me?
Yup, really.
Jackson smiled back. It was just like when they were kids. Dan stood up and walked into the corridor, heading towards the kitchen.
Where are you going?
Jackson asked, puzzled. To the kitchen. Aren't you hungry? Dan answered, looking over his shoulder.
Well, what have you got to eat then?
We have le grilled cheese sandwich. Dan answered with a French accent, followed up with a stereotypical French laugh. Ha 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 ha! Jackson laughed and nodded.
Okay then.
He then stood up to follow Dan into the kitchen. Jackson sat on a dining chair, watching Dan make the sandwiches.
And now there's a break, as if, well, you know, like a new chapter or something, but it's the same event.
Yeah.
Yep.
Good night, Dan, Jackson told his best friend. He was situated in a small sleeping bag that Dan always kept in case someone slept over.
Night, Jackson.
Dan yawned while plopping under the covers.
Plopping.
Plopping under the covers.
Ploppy, son of Ploppy.
Jackson felt his eyes drooping. Just before he fell asleep, he saw a figure standing there, right outside the window. Hours later, Jackson heard shuffling right next to him. He jolted upright in the sleeping bag. He looked like a human-sized caterpillar. What the fuck? Jackson muttered. The entire room was pitch black and cold. Dan? Jackson whispered to the lump on the bed next to him. Dan! He whispered again, a little louder. No response. He called out to his friend a couple more times. Dan didn't even move. A strange feeling filled his gut. His palms sweating.
Knees weak, arms are heavy.
Fuck's sake! Dan! Jackson screamed. And as soon as he did, he smelt it. A metallic scent.
Mum spaghetti.
Jackson stumbled to his feet and rushed to the light switch. As the lights turned on, he expected Dan to whine at him.
Sorry, I'm just hitting the light switch.
But no response. The first thing he noticed was the shattered window. Why hadn't he heard it break? He ambled over to the other side of Dan's bed. Author's note. Dan was facing away from Jackson.
Why?
Author's note.
Why?
Dan's blanket was covering his body. His head was the only visible thing. It was laid on his pillow. Dan's face. It didn't look right. Jackson tensed up. The still air grew colder with each passing second. It was quiet. Too quiet. Oh my god. Could you write a more cliche sentence than that? I don't know if you could.
Yeah.
Jackson's heavy breathing was the only thing that could be heard.
I know how you can write a more traditional sentence. The sky was black and there was hyper-realistic blood everywhere. Every creepypasta.
And curiosity got the better of me.
And it turns out it was all a dream. I used to read Word Up magazine. Jackson's heavy breathing was the only thing that could be heard. Overwhelming fear took over Jackson when he reached his hand out to push Dan a little bit to wake him up. That stench wafting into his nose. Dan fell limp, revealing his neck. Jackson froze. Dan's neck. It was slit. Crimson fluids. But why do people always say crimson?
Because it sounds better than bread.
Staining the blankets and pillows. Jackson got a hold of himself. Okay. On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3! He yelled as he yanked the covers. To his horror, Dan was covered in what looked like stab wounds. This is fairly atmospheric, to be honest. Blood covered his shirt and sheets. Jackson felt a shiver go down his spine. Jackson would cry, but he was scared out of his shit, and they just ruined it.
He was scared out of his
What
shit.
a piece of cowabunga shit.
He sensed a presence behind him. He couldn't move. It was like he was glued to the spot. Kind of like sleep paralysis.
No?
Footsteps made their way over to Jackson. He tensed up even more. He heard a soft, feminine, maniacal laughter. Then all went black. So was it maniacal or was it soft?
I was like...
Ooh, that was alright.
Then a new paragraph. Jackson woke up in what seemed like a lot. I say paragraph, they're kind of like broken up like weird chapters, aren't they?
Yeah. Jackson woke up in what seemed like a log cabin. That same stench seemed to surround him, suffocate him. He looked around, confused as fuck. He tried moving his arms, but they were restrained to the wall with chains?
Tentacles?
In parentheses, tentacles, what I was going to say.
What? What is this? Why am I here?
And how can I leave?
What the fuck?
Then he remembered spending the day with Dan. He remembered waking up to see the darkness, seeing a broken window, and then there was Dan's body, dead. Dan was gone. Jackson felt the wetness on his cheeks as he choked back a sob.
Maybe think about that imagery for a second before you type something that's meant to sound like emotional.
Jackson felt the wetness.
Yeah, maybe like before writing words like wetness and choked, like maybe I don't know.
He thought of every moment that he had ever spent with Dan. They were like brothers. He then recalled a short conversation he had with Dan. It was about his father. And
Flashback.
Yeah, it is like a border. It just says flashback.
Okay, here we go. It's a sepia tone now. I want a sepia tone on the video. A 15-year-old Jackson was sitting on a tattered green couch with a 16-year-old Dan.
So, how's the manhunt going?
Dan asked.
Or is it me? Sorry, I can't fucking hear you guys.
Yeah.
It's so quiet. Not so well. The police gave up months ago. Man, I swear that man is psychotic. I can't even call him Dad anymore, you know?
That's how stuttering works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you find anything at all in the attic? Or signs of break-ins? Did you find anything interesting?
We found some pictures and Hot Pocket wrappers.
That sounds so...
My Hot Pocket wrappers.
That is so unthreatening.
Whoa.
Whoa.
And they haven't found him, have they?
Dan crossed his legs off the couch.
Crossed his legs of the couch.
Yeah, he did indeed. No, what he did is he actually just got the legs off the couch and crossed them.
Yeah, he's just like really strong.
Just hulked out.
Well, no shit. I already told you that. It's like he just fucking disappeared.
Well then.
Dan trailed off. After a moment of silence, Dan's mother called out for them to dinner.
Flashback end.
Flashback end.
Well, that was
Pointless.
I'm sure that'll be relevant. Remember the Hot Pocket wrappers, all right?
My Hot Pocket wrapper.
Jackson snapped out of his thoughts again when he heard the light pitter-patter footsteps making their way closer to the door. Door creaked open and revealed what looked like a female in a black turtleneck jacket and grey jeans. Her mouth and nose was covered with the turtleneck of the jacket. The right side of her face was hidden with a side fringe. Her hair was black, brown eyes, and seemed to be about Jackson's age.
Her hair was black, brown eyes, and seemed to be... Could just proofread your shit before you put it on the internet, guys. Come on.
It's like, who are you? We're burglars!
She started walking towards him. She pulled the neck of the jacket down with one hand and the other hand behind her back. With an evil smirk was etched. He really liked this word, by the way, etch, onto her face. When she was about 2 feet away from him, he shouted,
Hey! Stay back! You're too close. Fuck off!
That sounds like a great rap song. Hey! Stay back! You're too close for fuck off! His voice shook. The girl didn't stop. She kept inching closer and closer. She giggled.
Now.
Oh God! The prize is back!
I don't like it when people tell me what to do, she cooed.
Taking her arm out from her socket, fuck it. Taking her arm out from behind her back, revealing a bloody machete, the blood looked fresh. Jackson's blood went cold as he froze in fear. The girl's smirk grew wider as she swung the machete around. She then leaned in, her rough lips touched his cheek. She kissed it lightly. In the following moments, the only thing Jackson thought about was his mother. The last time he spoke to her on the phone, he realised he never had an arm.
Dun dun dun.
You'd know that. You wouldn't be so caught up in Alan Wake or something, whatever the fuck you were choosing to play. I just literally just chose the first game I saw there. You know, no, wouldn't happen. Everything was interrupted when Jackson felt excruciating pain in his abdomen. As he heard giggling get louder every second, she stabbed him with the machete. The machete began to move around inside. Nothing Jackson knew could describe what he felt at that moment. The machete had been taken out and held up against his throat. He looked at her face, blood dribbled down his chin. She looked up at him, her mouth taking shape of a Cheshire grin. She leaned in again, kissed his cheek once more, just to tease him, and whispered to his ear,
You were born to die.
And just like that, Jackson's life was gone. And that's the end of the pasta.
What the fuck was that all about?
I don't know. What? Right. Why was there a flashback? What was the whole point with the subplot with the fucking father? Why? And why? Who was this fucking Jane the Killer bullshit that could come in at the end? Like,
what was his
did they just not know? Was it J.J. Abrams that wrote this and just like, I don't know how to finish this?
I'll be honest, I wasn't entirely paying attention.
No, that came from nowhere, mate.
Because I started to lose interest with it. But yeah, this is horrible.
There's a lot of stuff which could have potential, and then you just chose, fuck it, Panda Girl from My Immortal, or saying I don't fucking know.
There's 2 comments, right?
Oh, okay.
There's 2 comments, and they're both from the writer of the Creepypasta. One of them is from the 3rd of December last year. What the fuck did I write? And then 2 days ago,
I am that sad person that comments on my own post and not get any response.
And not get any... Jesus Christ. That's an edited comment as well. I don't see what it looked like before.
Oh.
Do you want to know why you don't, not getting in the comments? It's because it's not fun to read. If you had a bit of a shorter story and it didn't end with random person killing your protagonist for no reason whatsoever, then I'm pretty sure you'd be fine. If you built on something at the beginning of the story and actually had it come to a head at the end of the story, that would be fine. That's what most stories try to do. And also the title. Let's talk about the title. You're born to die. Every single human on the fucking earth was born to die.
Like, yeah, it's supposed to sound profound, but it doesn't. It's just like, it's just what happens to him at the end. What did she mean by that? Like, oh, his mum said I was staying with his aunt, but she didn't really have an aunt. So is his mum the killer? What's going on? It doesn't make a lick of sense. In the interest of constructive criticism, like, I feel like there's potential here. Really? Yes, it's horrible, but and yes, the grammar is atrocious and things, but there are attempts at building an atmosphere. Particularly now, it's very derivative. But the scene where his friend has been killed and he creeps over to him, it's actually reasonably well written in the sense that there's pacing there, and it ramps up to it. It builds the tension. That's not bad. More stuff like that could probably save your story.
Yeah.
But it needs a lot of work. I mean, a lot.
So definitely not the worst thing we've ever read
by
any stretch of my imagination. It's just a bit like...
A bit boring.
Yeah.
Why did that happen at the end? Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, keep practicing.
At least the author went back to it a year later and went, what the hell did I write?
Thanks a lot for watching. Thank you to our patrons, whose names are on the screen. Without you guys, this show would not be possible. If you enjoyed this video and would like to see more like it, you can click the subscribe. Why not check out one of our other videos? We've also got merchandise as well, and of course you can become a patron if you so choose. Follow us on social media and stuff. Take it easy and we'll see you next time.